Hey guys, welcome to Paleo 0 to 60, day 16 here. I got the days a little messed up when I was uploading videos, so if you realize that's what's going on, I'm sorry. Got the dog here in the morning. Anyways, we're just going to do a quick check-in. I've lost like 3 pounds this week because I got my hair cut. No, my dad is
pretty shaggy.
We had kind of a funny week. We had Thanksgiving in the middle of the week, so started off the week 215 for my dad, and then ended at 212, but in between we went 215 down to 212 midweek, and then Thanksgiving happened. Popped back up to 213 and a half for a couple days until the leftovers ran out. No, until I hid the pumpkin pie, and then we went back to 212. So
yeah, I actually ate very little that wasn't paleo, but it was enough carbs and some wheat-based stuff.
Yeah,
crust on pie and some bread.
Yep. And we were just kind of speculating what might have happened there. One thought is he's already sort of in this metabolic derangement situation, even though we're correcting that in the process. In the process of correcting that, so any small thing might kind of set him back into that thing. And we talked about habits last video, I think. So it's kind of similar in that too. Like even small cheats when you're first getting off have the potential to just totally ruin you. I had a friend who did this for 2 weeks, and then he's like, "Oh, I think I could probably have some M&Ms, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, just bag of M&Ms." After he totally fell off the wagon. That was it. Like he was just done for like another 6 months.
And I can believe that because I could tell it changed my physiology back to what it knew before.
Yeah,
it was amazing. And I was thinking that with that like 5 days of plateau or whatever that normally if you're just eating this non-paleo stuff all the time, you're going to be constantly in that mode and you're never going to even realize that's what's going on.
Yeah,
it was nice to be on this clean paleo diet and see this clear effect of such a minor amount.
Down, little pop, and flat, and then back down after we got him back. Yeah, kind of eating nice. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, my Thanksgiving also a little rough. I avoided sort of the Neolithic agents of disease, but I did eat a lot of sweet potatoes, like a lot of sweet potatoes, and I did have maybe a little bit of dairy on top of the sweet potatoes in the form of whipped cream.
Now it comes out.
Yeah, but I was pretty much paleo. I know dairy doesn't do too many bad things to me, so it's not just that. But I woke up the next morning, I felt like I couldn't move. My body was just like totally lethargic, which that was kind of normal. I had a bit of a headache, which tends to happen when I overdo the carbs, and then
sounds like high glucose in your blood.
Yeah,
it sounds like.
I'm basically poisoning myself with glucose. And then I had a voice lesson, and towards the end of every phrase I was trying to sing, I would get really lightheaded and feel like I was going to black out. It was super intense. Like that maybe happens to me like once every once in a while, but it was like every time, like every 30 seconds. I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. So I suspect that was what's going on. Is I just way overdid the carbs, and I'm probably not terribly insulin sensitive right now because I don't eat very much carbs. So I'm sort of, if you eat too many carbs, you get insulin resistant. If you don't eat any carbs, you get insulin resistant for another reason. It's not as pathologic in that case. Like it's just your body's just functioning naturally.
Starvation response.
Yeah, it's trying to keep glucose going to the brain as opposed to the muscles.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Otherwise, you start talking like us.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyways, yeah. When I spike my glucose now, if I do that massively, I get sort of weird effects, which is probably good to remind me that I don't need to do that so often. And then in between, I should probably be eating some fruit to kind of keep myself sensitive to that. You got anything else?
Well, I'm thinking, I just started exercising yesterday a little bit, and I'm going to do it in a really small way at first. I'm doing these few sprints that are really just intervals where I really get pretty rested in between. Mm-hmm. And before when I was doing it, I was doing about 5 of them for about 20 to 30 seconds a piece on the bike. You just climb on it and just sprint like crazy, like you're going uphill. And I'm just going to do that every day, and along with a little bit of conditioning I'm doing for my rehab for my shoulder that I hurt moving a bunch of stuff. So we're going to see what that does, because otherwise I think, I'm pretty sure my weight didn't change between yesterday and today, although I feel thinner in a bunch of ways. So I think that working out, it's starting to shift fat for muscle.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
And it used to happen to me for like a month without my weight changing. Yeah. So that'll be interesting.
Cool. Yeah. But we'll notice the difference. We've been taking measurements. Although our measurement techniques may be a little sloppy, so we'll see. how much that is.
You know, one other thing that I was mentioning to Jeff earlier is that it made me sort of question Tim Ferriss's idea in his 4 Hour Body Book about being able to cheat once a week and eat everything and anything you want, like on a Friday.
Yeah.
I tell you what, after my experience of just eating a little bit, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And there's obviously going to be a lot of factors. If you're working out like a madman like Ferriss does, you may be more okay with that, but it's still going to have a pretty dramatic effect on you.
Yeah, and I think Rob Wolf's of a similar opinion, like, especially with stuff like gluten intolerance or food intolerances, because you can actually damage your gut for weeks, but with just one incidence.
Do we have any idea of how long that takes for your gut to...
I believe it's like 14
leaky?
days. Well, no, it depends. To quit being leaky, so the 14 days I think is like if you were good and then you expose yourself to a little bit of gluten, it takes so long to get back on. And I'm not exactly sure on the number, but if you have a leaky gut, it can take months when you first start to actually finally heal.
Now, and my understanding is gluten does that, and these glucopolysaccharides that you get from some other things can do it too.
Yeah, lectins as well, certain lectins.
Yeah. So quinoa is a huge problem. People think it's great to substitute for wheat.
Yeah, the quinoa. Yeah, it's probably better in some situations, but yeah, you still, in a lot of grains, are going to have problematic elements in it, even though it's not necessarily gluten. And it kind of depends from person to person how you react to it. But it's good to figure that out for yourself, and I think cutting it out entirely to start with is the best way to go, because then you can be certain when you add it back in.
Yeah, I really think you got to treat this like an experiment. The experiment it is, which is that you only let one variable change at a time, or there's just no way to know what's going on.
Well, yeah, unless you don't have time. Like, it's good, I think, to go cold turkey on everything in the beginning.
Yeah.
Even though you won't know what specific variable it was that caused that.
Well, I think, you have to start that way and develop a clean slate. And then once you're stable, you've lost weight, your weight's stable where you want it and everything, then add one thing back and see what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys.
See ya.
Keep safe out there.